Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, when your idols become your rivals. A former Disney Channel star turned professional boxer going up against an all-time great heavyweight boxing legend. But is it really that simple?
You can run, but you can't hide, big boy. Sign the contract.
Let's do it, Jakey.
You versus Jake Paul, like this young YouTuber takes on one of the greatest heavyweight champions that's ever lived.
Now, Mike Tyson's pro record has 50 wins, 6 losses with 44 knockouts. And Jake Paul's right now is 9 wins and 1 loss with 6 of his wins by knockout. His only loss so far was at the hands of Tommy Fury that happened last year, and he kind of struggled with the jab of Tommy Fury and the pace. Just that experience difference from Tommy having that muscle memory since he was a kid of boxing compared to Jake Paul was what I felt like really made a difference. And now he's going into the ring against Mike Tyson, who has way more experience than Tommy Fury could ever dream of. And Mike Tyson is way bigger than Jake Paul. Jake usually fights at 185 to 200 pounds, moving up to heavyweight. Mike Tyson always comes in at around 220 pounds, so over 20 pounds more than Jake Paul fights at. Jake is also a bit taller than Mike, but that's not anything Mike isn't used to in his pro career. Mike became known for Cus D'Amato's peekaboo style, which Mike Tyson perfected. He became the youngest world champion in heavyweight boxing with the way he would move his feet, the angles that he would create. Everything was such a high level, and especially the footwork of Mike Tyson was what really set him apart from his competition. He was able to stand in a somewhat square stance and still be able to get out of the way of shots, be able to move his feet. And not only that, but he struck fear into his opponents.
I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been.
One of the most feared fighters of all time and dubbed the baddest man on the planet for a reason. But there was a big problem with his style that's especially going to hurt him now, which was how athletically based it was. It was probably one of the most energy-inducing styles in boxing. The way he would come forward on guys, be aggressive, use all that energy, be so explosive. Obviously in his prime, it worked because he was a world-class athlete at the highest level. The reality is he's not going to be that exact same guy anymore. Sure, he's still going to have that muscle memory and he's still going to know a lot of the tricks, but his body just won't be able to hold up like he used to. Who knows if that will be a deal breaker here. We've seen videos of him come out on the pads and stuff like that, and he still looks explosive, so we know he still has that. But all these clips are like cut up, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. None of them are just a plain 15 seconds of Mike Tyson just doing his thing, which I feel like is for a reason. The stamina and the energy that it's going to take to perform like that for an entire fight is going to be ruthless. A guy like Jake Paul has a much more traditional style. Again, he's just starting in boxing, so he's picking up the fundamentals as he goes. He's kind of adapted this Kronk style with his new team. He's shown decent power. He has a solid lead hand, like a jab and his hook, which are some of the most important tools to have. But something Jake hasn't seen is a guy like Mike Tyson, who has the footwork, has the variety, the double jabs, triple jabs, then to the body. And then when he hurts you to that body, putting that water in the basement, as Teddy Atlas says, he comes upstairs. So Jake Paul's gonna have to be careful, especially for how open sometimes he leaves himself. He likes to swing wide with the overhand. That was a big problem in his fight against Tommy Fury, the one he lost. He would just duck down completely, not seeing his opponent at all, not seeing anything coming back, and just shoot an overhand over the top, which a lot of the time would just miss and leave him open for counters. And if you're doing that against Mike Tyson, that's not going to end well. Even though Mike Tyson's last fight against Roy Jones wasn't really all out, it was kind of an exhibition. They were going pretty easy on each other, I think, especially to the head at least. I think Roy said that Mike was ripping him to his body and it felt like a mule had just kicked him in the chest.
He's the strongest puncher I've ever been in the ring with. First time he hit me in my chest, I feel like a mule had kicked me in my chest.
And then we have Jake Paul's last fights with journeyman pro boxers who he knocked out in the first round, both of them. His last one, he was taking a lot more risks than he should have been. When he hurt his opponent and got him on the ropes, it wasn't a clean finish. He kind of got clipped a little bit in the middle of his combination and the punches weren't looking too crisp. I don't know what that was, whether he knew it was a mismatch and this guy has no threat, he's not going to hurt me, so I'm just going to do whatever I want and get an emphatic first round finish. But regardless, it wasn't great. And if that's Mike Tyson clipping him instead, it could have been very different. His fight against Nate Diaz was ironically where we saw the most from Jake Paul. Full 10 rounds, 3 minutes each. He was able to drop Nate with a check left hook in the 5th round. And while he looked sharp in this fight with his lead hand and on his bike, where Nate had a lot of success was on the inside and in the clinch, where I feel like Mike Tyson, that's really his bread and butter. Those uppercuts, those hooks in close are what Mike Tyson is A+ at. Jake has to be much more comfortable in the pocket, especially if Nate Diaz is kind of walking him down. You can only imagine what Mike Tyson could do if he gets there. This fight is pro, so it's on the records. The stakes are high. Mike Tyson is not just going to throw this fight or take it easy or treat this as an exhibition like he did the Roy Jones Jr. fight. This is real. Whoever loses this is going to have a loss on their records forever, so they're going to go for the kill. The fight's going to have 8 2-minute rounds, which definitely favors Mike Tyson, considering Jake Paul's been fighting 3-minute rounds. He's used to that. Now it's going to be shorter spurts where Mike Tyson's going to be able to get in, be explosive for a couple minutes, and then he has a minute break, and then 2 more minutes, and then another minute break. Instead of him getting much more tired in 3-minute rounds, he's not going to have to worry about that as much, especially especially because of the cardio concerns and the conditioning. In terms of their keys to success, Jake Paul needs to keep Mike Tyson at bay, stay on the outside, use his jab, use that lead hand. Especially early, he should not be taking extreme risks. Mike Tyson is one of the most dangerous punchers in boxing and will punish him for it. So if Jake just stays disciplined, tries to wear out Mike Tyson a bit, and then those later rounds start to pick it up, that's where he will have the most success, in my opinion. Meanwhile, for Mike Tyson, he needs to be explosive, but in spots. Don't let all your energy go out in the first 3 rounds, going for the viral knockout. Of course, he knows that, but he still has to be aggressive. Cut down the ring and throw combinations. We've seen when Jake Paul is overwhelmed by combinations when he lost against Tommy Fury, he was uncomfortable. Mike has to bring him there to those deep waters instead of 1 or 2 punches, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But as I said, in spots, after you throw a combination, take a little bit of a rest. Mike needs to dig to the body, as I said, and if he hurts Jake at any point, go for the kill. Jake Paul also isn't used to being the lighter guy in the ring, so Mike Tyson with that size advantage could maybe use that with not only his power but also in the clinch. Maybe lean on him, using some dirty boxing. That's where Mike's gonna have the most success, and Jake Paul needs to just stay disciplined, fight his own fight, don't fall into the trap of Mike Tyson. These two got into boxing for very different reasons and at very different time periods in their life. 2 different eras, the old school versus the new school. Jake Paul really chose boxing. He didn't need it. He was already a sensation on the internet. He was famous. He had a huge career. Out of nowhere, he took to boxing and really just went 100% with it. Meanwhile, Mike Tyson has been boxing like forever, beating up grown men since he was a kid. With there being an over 30-year age gap, Jake Paul at 27 years old and Mike Tyson turning 58 soon, Mike could literally be his dad. Mike Tyson was one of the best, most feared heavyweights of all time. There's a reason everyone knows him. He's a household name, but he had a rough end to his career, getting stopped 3 out of his last 4 fights. And then he retired in 2005, where even then, 20 years ago, he felt like he didn't have it.
Well, I would like to continue, but I saw that I was getting beat on. I realized I don't think I have it anymore because I got the ability to stay in shape, but I don't got the fighting guts, I don't think, anymore.
Now, to put this into perspective, Mike Tyson retired and his last professional fight was before I was born. It was that long ago. Since then, Mike has changed a lot from his fighting days. He's matured, he's got much more wise with age, and just seems like a gentle giant, a peaceful man. He started business ventures, podcasts, stuff like that, where at one point he even put on some weight until he got that urge again. In 2020, at the age of 54, Mike Tyson agreed to fight Roy Jones Jr. in an exhibition, and who happened to be on the undercard with a viral KO that same night? Jake Paul. Jake Paul fought Nate Robinson to really get his name in the boxing scene, while Mike Tyson fought Roy. Roy Jones, another legend in his own right, and Mike Tyson still looks sharp. And when it comes to my prediction for this fight, I feel like it really depends what Mike Tyson shows up. If we get an old, slow Mike Tyson who can't take a punch, it's gonna be a rough night. Because Jake Paul, love him or hate him, has been taking boxing seriously and has been disciplined. But if, and it's a big if, Mike is fast, he's strong, he's still explosive, he's maybe juiced up a little bit, it could be a short night for Jake Paul. I'm gonna wait for a little bit closer until we get to the fight to lock in my prediction 100% to solidify it. But for right now, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel, and peace out.